It's tomorrow, isn't it? I thought maybe we could jump the gun. Maybe it'll work if we do it in more intimate circumstances.
Just a minute, I have to use the bathroom first.
Of course.
Why did you bring me here?
I thought you might enjoy it for a change. I guess it was sort of an experiment. You said you wanted to know what was going on. Are you all right?
Yes.
Perhaps you would prefer it if I turn the lights off.
Yes. We can't stay long.
Why not?
Because if I'm not back at the house by midnight, I turn into a pumpkin. Or is it a coach?
Offred, wake up. It's time. You ready?
Yes.
Let's go then. I won't come with you. You go out through the door and turn right. There's another door, it's open. Go up the stairs and knock. He's expecting you. No one will see you. I'll sit right here.
Are you sure?
The commander's in his bedroom upstairs. He won't come down this late. He never does.
Come in. Well, you want a drag?
Yes. I don't have much time.
I could just squirt it into a bottle and you could pour it in.
Don't.
Don't take it personally, I get paid.
When you get paid, I get laid.
No romance, okay?
Okay?
Let's get started.
Welcome to the fully automated house of the Lord.
Head for the back, we can talk better.
Welcome to the fully automated house of the Lord.
Blessed be the
Blessed be the fruit.
May the Lord open you.
Janine? Janine! Janine!
Oh, blessed be the fruit.
May the Lord open.
Did you hear about my baby?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Sorry? Her name's Angela. Look,
What?
Angela.
Where?
Where do you think? Here, in my arms, silly. We come here every day together to thank the Lord for all his blessings, don't we, honey? Oh, she's a bit grumpy today. She kept me up all night, didn't you?
Janine, there's nothing there.
You have a nice day now.
Janine.
My name is Ofwarren.
Janine, Offwarren, whatever.
You have a nice day now.
No, if you start losing your minds, they're gonna send you to the colonies.
You have a nice day now.
Janine.
You have a nice day now.
So you couldn't find anything?
I can't just take things while he's looking.
You could go into his room at night when he's not there. Look through his desk. There must be papers, notations.
He keeps the door locked.
We could get you a key. Don't you want to know who he is, what he does?
I can't. I'm too afraid. Anyway, I'd be no good at that. I'd get caught.
No, we can get you out. We can get people out if we have to, if they're in danger. Immediate danger.
What makes you think I want to leave?
Oh, I can't believe you want to stay here.
Why?
What is there for you here?
They have corrupted themselves.
Look what I've brought you. Oh, she's a pretty girl, isn't she? What was her name?
Daisy.
Oh, Daisy. Well, she's called Faith now.
Faith.
You can only have it for a minute. I have to return it before they know it's missing.
Where does she live?
I can't tell you that.
Please tell me where she
Oh,
lives.
I knew this would be a mistake. Do you want me to take it away now?
No.
Well then.
She's changed so much.
Well, she's very happy and well taken care of. You can be sure of that. Well, see, she's laughing. She has a family now. A real one.
Time has not stood still. It has washed over me, washed me away as if I'm nothing more than a woman of sand, left by a careless child too near the water. I have been obliterated for her. I'm only a shadow now, far back behind the glib, shiny surface of this photograph. A shadow of a shadow, as dead mothers become. You can see it in her eyes. I am not there. I went back to Joseph, time after time on my own, without Serena Joy knowing. I became reckless. I took stupid chances. After being with the commander, I would go upstairs in the usual way. But then I would go along the hall and down the domestic stairs at the back and through the kitchen. I would hurry across the few feet of illuminated lawn, expecting at any moment to hear a shout. I would make my way by touch up the dark staircase and come to rest against the door. Each time I would expect him to be gone. Or worse, I would expect him to say I couldn't come in. He might say he wasn't going to break the rules anymore, put his neck in the noose for my sake. Or even worse, tell me he was no longer interested.
I was just about to go to bed.
Is it too late?
No, I just wasn't sure if you were coming.
Being here with him is safety. It's a cave where we huddle together while the storm goes on outside. This is a delusion, of course. This room is one of the most dangerous places I could be. If I were caught, there would be no mercy. Joseph, but I'm beyond caring. I think it's happened. I feel it has. A couple of weeks and I'll be certain.
I love you to death, so will she.
But it's yours. It will be yours, really. I want it to be.
Why? Why do you want it to be mine?
Because I think you're a good man.
You don't know anything about me.
I think I do. I could tell.
How?
Not from what you say. You don't talk much. But I can tell. I can just tell. Have you heard of May Day?
No, why?
It doesn't matter. I just thought you might have.
Listen, I don't want any trouble, and I don't think you want any trouble either. I don't know that word, but already I don't like it. I think you should just forget it. It sounds dangerous, you understand?
Good morning, ladies. I'm sure we are all aware of the unfortunate circumstances that bring us all here together on this beautiful morning. But duty is a hard taskmaster, or may I say on this occasion, taskmistress. And it is in the name of duty that we are here today. For it is on us that the burden of carrying the torch of the future, the cradle of the race, is laid. But to the task before us. Of Charles, you have been found guilty of the attempted murder of your commander's wife. You have been sentenced to be hanged by the neck until your life, has expired. Now, here we have a wife. Stand up. Make her stand up! Someone in your privileged position should have known better. You have been found guilty of adultery. We all know the mandatory punishment for adultery. The right hand will be removed from your body, from just above the wrist.
First evil, 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 first evil.
Today's salvaging is now concluded. But you may stand up and form a circle. Orderly now.
What's going on?
Don't you know?
Bring the criminal into the circle.
It's a particicution.
You know the
What?
rules for a particicution. You will wait until I blow the whistle. After that, what you do is up to you. Until I blow the whistle again. Understood? This man has been convicted of rape. He was once a guardian of the faith. He has disgraced his uniform. He has abused his position of trust. His partner in viciousness has already been shot. Penalty for rape, as you know, is death. Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verses 23 to 29. I might add that this crime took place at gunpoint. It was also brutal. I will not offend your ears with any details, except to say that one woman was pregnant, and the baby died. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I saw what you did.
What do you mean?
Why did you kick him in the head like that? You, I thought you were...
Look at me, they're watching.
Well, I don't care, I can't help it. What are you doing?
Get control of yourself. He wasn't a rapist at all, he was a political. He was one of ours. I kicked him in the head to knock him out, put him out of his misery. Couldn't you see what they were doing to him?
Hi there, how you doing?
Janine.
Did you enjoy the particicution? Look what I got. Just grabbed tight and kept on pulling. Did you get anything?
I couldn't get close enough.
Too bad. You have a nice day now.
Blessed be the fruit.
May the Lord open.
Hello, Offred.
Hello.
Shall we go to the store?
Where's... of Glen?
I am of Glen.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Shall we go?
Yes. I didn't know of Glen very well. I mean, the former one.
Oh?
Yes, I've only known her since May. Around the 1st of May, I think it was. What they used to call May Day.
Did they? That isn't a term I remember. I'm surprised you do. You ought to make an effort to clear your mind of such echoes.
Now I feel cold. What she is doing is warning me. She isn't one of us, but she knows. I've been stupid again. More than stupid. What am I going to do?
Nothing.
Nothing. If Glen's been caught, it's only a matter of time before she starts talking about me, and I haven't even done anything. All I did was know, and I'll end up hanging from a hook on the wall.
You've got to calm down.
They know where my child is. What if they bring her, threaten something to her in front of me, or do it? I can't bear to think what they might do.
They're not going to do that.
Why not?
Because she's dead.
What?
Not your daughter. Of Glen. She killed herself.
But did she talk?
I don't know.
Am I safe?
I'm not sure. You've got to keep on doing everything exactly the way you were before. Don't change anything, otherwise they'll know.
Yes.
Promise?
Yes.
Don't slip up.
Dear God, I will do anything you like. Just let me off and I'll obliterate myself if that's what you really want. I'll empty myself truly, become a chalice. I'll give up Joseph. I'll forget about the others. I'll stop complaining. I'll accept my lot. I'll sacrifice. I'll repent. I'll abdicate. I'll renounce. I want to keep on living in any form. I resign my body freely to the uses of others. Yes, come in.
Offred, the mistress wants you to come downstairs.
Come in, close the door.
We've called you down to discuss...
Don't you talk! You're just as guilty. Offred, I trusted you. I tried to help you. Well, nothing to say for yourself?
About what?
I know all about it.
You've got the wrong idea.
Oh, don't you talk to me!
Who told you these lies?
I know what I know. What is this? There's lipstick all over it. How could you be so vulgar behind my back?
It wasn't what you...
I told you last time, don't you touch me! And you disgusting slut. You could have left me something. Just like the last one. Well, you'll end up the same. Joseph!
Yes, ma'am.
Take her to a room and guard the door.
It was you, wasn't it, Joseph? You told her, didn't you? Didn't you? What else did you tell her?
Just get in.
There are a number of things I could do. I could set fire to the house, for instance. I could bundle up some of my clothes and the sheets and strike my one hidden match. If it didn't catch, that would be that. But if it did, there would at least be an event. A signal of some kind to mark my exit. I could tear my bedsheet into strips and twist it into a rope of sorts and tie one end to the leg of my bed and try to break the window, which is shatterproof. Instead, I could noose the bedsheet around my neck, hook myself up in the closet, choke myself off.
You're to go with these men.
Who are they? Where are they going to take me?
There's no point resisting.
You bastard.
Mayday.
What did you say?
Trust me. Go with these men.
What is going on? Who are these people?
I don't know. They've come to take Offred.
I didn't call anyone. Where are you taking her? What has she done?
Can't say, ma'am. Sorry.
I need to see your authorization. You have a warrant.
Not that we need one, sir, but all is in order. Violation of state secrets.
What?
Oh, my God, what have I done?
Bitch! After all he did for you! Do you realize what you've done to my husband?
Serena, don't.
Do you? To me?
That's enough now.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sure she must have broken into my husband's office.
Well, there will be an investigation.
Well, I'm sure she was acting alone.
That's enough, dear.
Let go of me!
There's a step here. Mind your head.
All right, let's go.
Whether this is my end or a new beginning, I have no way of knowing. I have given myself over into the hands of strangers because it can't be helped.
These tapes, 30 of the type used during the latter part of the 20th century, were found in a metal box unearthed on the site of what was once the city of Bangor, in what before Gilead would have been the state of Maine. Did our narrator reach the outside world safely and build a new life for herself? We shall never know. All we do know is that she survived long enough to record her account, her Handmaid's Tale, and for that we should be grateful. We glimpse her for a moment on her terms only, and then she slips from our grasp and flees. As all historians know, the past is a great darkness and filled with echoes. Voices may reach us from it, but what they say to us is imbued with the obscurity of the matrix out of which they come. And try as we may, we cannot always decipher them precisely in the clearer light of our own day. Are there any questions?
I'm sure you have questions, gentle listener. I did and still do. But that's sort of the nature of this story, isn't it? Raising more questions than it answers. What do you think happened to Offred? How long do you think the Republic of Gilead stayed in power? But now, scenes from the next episode of Secrets, Crimes, and Audiotape. Next up on Secrets, Crimes, and Audiotape, we proudly present Becky Shaw by Gina Gianfrido. A story about, basically the worst people. Max and Susanna are best friends who grew up under the same roof. Susanna's father has just died, her family business ran into the ground, and her mom has taken up with a rent boy. Max is a facile, slimy, rich, entitled asshole, and Susanna wants to set him up on a date. Enter Becky Shaw, whom you will meet in the second episode. Boy, she has no idea what she is in for with this crew. Take a listen.
In one of my textbooks, I read about these families. Craziest thing, Max. When someone in the family is in pain, the other family members do this thing called nurture. You ever heard of that?
Nope.
Your father died 6 months
It
ago.
was 3 months.
It was 4 months. You're both liars.
Call Max. Max! Shit! What time is it? We should cancel with Max and Becky.
Well, Max is probably on his way. I can cancel Becky, but...
No, if we have Max, we need Becky. He's already resistant to the whole blind date thing. We can't abort the mission. It begins with an E and ends with a Y. You can't do it.
Nurture? No, empathy. Right.
Everyone, this is Becky. Becky, this is my wife, Susanna. This is Max.
Nice to meet you all. Or both. I don't really feel I'm making a good impression.
You're doing great.
Please, I'm the one making a bad impression. If you're not at your best, it's only because I am not at mine.
So you agree I'm not at my best?
That's Becky Shaw. We'll be running that series for the next few weeks. So we're not quite done with The Handmaid's Tale. I recently had a fascinating conversation with Mallory Ortberg, the editor of the much-loved website The Toast, the author of Texts from Jane Eyre, and the voice of Dear Prudence over at Slate. Among other things, we discussed The Handmaid's Tale's depiction of a white supremacist totalitarian state. Mallory said a couple of revelatory things during our conversation, things that made me ask, who's not in this story? How does The Handmaid's Tale relate to historical narratives of women of color? Here is a taste of our conversation.
One of the things that I think makes it very much a product of its time, like very much a certain type of white feminism of the 1980s, is like essentially the book is this anxiety of what if all of the things that white people historically did to Black and Native people happened to middle-class, college-educated white women, right? Like you've got a world where there are bans on literacy, bans on travel, where women's children are taken away from them and raised by other people, which, you know, you see in like the Indian schools of the 19th century, the resettlement schools. Right? Yeah, exactly. You see public hangings, like lynchings. You see, forced reproduction programs, which again is like, these are all things that have happened in North American history. And everyone is profoundly driven by fear, myself included. There's a real history of, if you are afraid, here is the group of people responsible, and here's what we're going to do about it. There's a historical precedent for everything in this novel, right? Even the fear of being shipped off to the colonies has parallels to the threat of being like sold further south in slave literature and slave narratives. Right. There's certainly elements of, I'm reminded there was a case a year or two ago about a child who was staying with her white foster family despite being under the jurisdiction of the Indian Child Welfare Act, and this sort of long history of the racial elements of like the foster care system and ways in which historically it's been much easier for the government to intervene and take away children from families of color, again, particularly Black and Native families, and essentially resettle them with in the system. So that certainly jumps up. But I think again too, there's just this the thing that jumps out the most to me is the inability for like white feminists as a group, and I include myself in this, to step back from this idea of a universal female experience that is actually a white female experience. Because like you look at the Republic of Gilead, and aside from possibly Rita and Cora, everyone's described explicitly as white. They've got pink faces, blonde hair, Anglo names.
And Rita and Cora, for reference, are Marthas in the book. They are servant class characters.
Right. So there's, again, like a clear racial hierarchy there. There's certainly, I think, Margaret Atwood, especially being from Canada, which has a really different relationship to First Nations people than the United States does, and one that I think, obviously, while also profoundly and tragically flawed, is much further along than the United States in terms of acknowledging the peoples and their history and what the government has done. So there's clearly like an attempt on her part to say, this society is based on white supremacy. Like Margaret Atwood's not foolish. She doesn't miss this entirely. Right. She knows that this is a book about a white supremacist society. And chooses to have at the end, and I think they refer to at some point the goddess of history, figures who are in some way connected to First Nations people, who do not follow a patriarchal religion, who are interested in scholarship and in studying. So there's clearly this idea, right, that like white supremacy and violence against women are linked, and a society that encourages female flourishing, and that like allows for something other than white supremacy to reign is a better alternative, but that also is 10 pages of the book. So sure. It's just, again, really interesting to see those two things kind of contrasted with one another, but then also to look at, in the majority of the book, there just aren't any non-white people who get a chance to say something or experience something. They just disappear and then show up at the very end and say, good thing that's over. Which makes you wonder, like, what were all those people doing during the Republic of Gilead? Where's that story? And that's really, really interesting.
I would really like to hear your thoughts about The Handmaid's Tale. How could this happen? What would you do if the world you knew shifted to something unimaginable? Hit us with your theories on Twitter. We're using the hashtag HandmaidSCA to discuss this production. In the final part of The Handmaid's Tale, Offred was played by Marcia Dietland, Professor Piaxoto by Dermot Crowley, Serena Joy by Leslie Hendricks, The Commander by Earl Hindman, Of Glenn by Murray Enos, Joseph by Dylan Chalfie, Moira by Tasha Lawrence, Aunt Lydia by Marion Seldes, Aunt Elizabeth by Peggotty Price, and Janine by Emma Roberts. Other parts were played by Kristen Marks, Bruce Sabbath, Shannon Williams, John Warden, Christopher Burns, and Edward Tully. The original score was by Sasha Putnam. Sound design was by Nick Russell Pavier. The Handmaid's Tale was directed by John Dryden. It is a Goldhawk production. Thank you for listening to Secrets, Crimes, and Audiotape. The theme song for our series was composed by Mark Hadley. Our editor is Sergio Enriquez. Our executive producers are Jeffrey Glazer and Hernan Lopez for Wondery. Until next time, I'm your host, David Reinstrom.